Hello, thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. My goal is to have a new episode of this show every day, Monday to Friday at noon is when it will post. And we're trying to do every single NFL team. So please, if you see your team on screen right now, we do not yet have a fan representative for these teams. If you don't see your team, that means your episode is coming up soon. So subscribe and turn on the notifications to make sure that you catch every episode. They're going to be a blast. They were fun to film so far. I'm looking forward to adventuring through all 32 teams. And without further ado, let's get on to the video. Hey everyone, Peo Time here once again with another episode of MOOF, where we are looking for the most overly optimistic fan in the NFL. Today I am so blessed to have my good friend Jarrett here. Welcome, Jarrett, to the show.
Thanks, glad to be here.
And he is representing all the Colts fans out there. And so we are gonna. The Colts are, as I've gone through this series, the Colts are a team that a lot of people don't necessarily have figured out. So, Jarrett, can you just, before we get started, tell us what are some of the things that you're looking forward to about the Colts season?
Well, yeah, thanks for having me on again. Looking forward to this. But, the Colts, like you said, are really interesting place. We got Carson Wentz at quarterback, who people don't really know what to expect. And it's kind of polar opposites, right? He could be still bad or he could be good again. And he's got his former coach in Frank Reich. He's got the best roster he's had since the Super Bowl season. And when he was injured. And I think we were chatting before we recorded this, started recording, but their Colts record is largely determined by Carson Wentz's play this season. And so I'm excited. I think he's got the potential. I think we have the roster for him to do it. He's out of excuses if he can't do it, obviously. And the other thing is, most of our roster is coming back from last year, and we got eliminated in the wild card round to Buffalo last year at Buffalo, a very good team, but a lot of people could say, we let that one get away. We were in large control. The first half couldn't capitalize in the red zone several times. A couple fourth down calls didn't go our way. But I think our roster has stuck together. A lot of returning players we didn't think would come back, including Xavier Rhodes on defense, which is huge for us, and T.Y. Hilton. So, I think with the same roster, who we went 11-5 last year and did great, and then a new piece with Carson Wentz with familiar coaching, I think we're good to go.
Okay, so you're sounding pretty optimistic. So let's get into it. Game by game prediction. Let's find out how optimistic Colts fans are feeling. And feel free to comment below if you think Jarrett is crazy or if you agree and think he's making a lot of sense. So first game, you're opening against, or yes, they're coming to visit you.
Yeah.
So you have the Seattle Seahawks home opener.
Yeah, and so I might have sounded optimistic, but really, as we go through this, you'll see the Colts' schedule is quite difficult this season. So we're going to find out pretty quick, particularly the first 7 weeks, and we'll see why. But yeah, the Colts, it's the first home opener, actually, the Colts have had in a long time. And it's against Seattle. And like we said, Carson Wentz, this is already right out of the gate. This isn't, Jacksonville or Houston in our division, which you could say are a bit of gimmies for him to warm up. This is, 12-4 team last year. They obviously have some off-season issues going on between the coach and the quarterback, and so a lot of eyes are going to be on them too, and seeing how they're going to figure it out. But I am confident the Colts will take this one home opener.
Okay, going for a win. Okay, starting off 1-0. Okay. And then big game coming into Indy, my Los Angeles Rams.
Yes.
And again, no judgment in this. This is a Rams channel. Just beware of that. But what do you think is going to happen? Do you think?
Yeah, and so you and I have been friends a long time. The channel might not know that. In the past 2 meetings the Rams have had, so 8 years, we have planned to meet up. And both times we were glad we didn't, because both times it's been an absolute slaughter by the Rams against the Colts. One way or another, good roster or bad roster. This year, I don't think it's going to be a slaughter, but I do think the Rams have the edge in this one. And the reason is because our new Pro Bowl left tackle, Eric Fisher, is coming off of an injury, and they don't expect him back until at least late September.
Okay.
And I do think, Seattle has some good defensive players, including Jamal Adams, but the Rams' defensive line is pretty stout, and I think the left tackle position will be exposed a bit. I think that gives them the edge a little bit against the Colts, but I'm not going to count them out completely. But at the same time, I can see Matty Stafford coming into Indy and taking that.
Okay. Yeah. So Ram fans comment below, and okay. So you're starting the season 1-1. Next, you got your first division game of the year. You are going to Tennessee to play the Tennessee Titans. Win or lose?
Yeah. So I'm pretty curious as to how this game will go. We actually don't usually play Tennessee this early in the year, at least the past couple of years. And now their offensive coordinator is gone. They've lost Corey Davis, and the Colts have destroyed the Titans in terms of head-to-head record the past decade. Obviously, the Titans have won the division past couple of years. Derrick Henry is great. We usually win in Nashville, and so I can see us going on the road, getting a W. I'm curious to see their offense, though, what it looks like now with some. I think they got worse in the offseason. I'll just say it. Colts fans will agree with me. We think this is our year for the division, at least the past several years. We haven't won it. But yeah, we're going to go to Tennessee.
So you're 2-1, and then you're going to Miami to face the Dolphins.
Yeah, so like I said, this first 7-week stretch is brutal. Like I said, we're playing 2 NFC West teams, and then we're going on the road 3 weeks in a row to Tennessee, Miami. Then the next week which we'll get to, is Baltimore on Monday Night Football. So we're got a lot of travel. That being said, I do think Miami has actually gotten worse a bit on defense, in particular. Offense is still a bit unproven. I'm curious to see how Tua does. I don't think their offensive line is that great. I think DeForest Buckner is going to feast that game.
Okay, a big Buckner game. Okay.
And I do think we'll go into Miami. The one thing to watch, though, for Colts fans, we don't particularly play well in Florida, in the state of Florida. I don't know, just the heat or whatever. We just don't typically play that well. But I do hope we get this and sneak away with a win here, because we'll need it.
Okay. And then, as you mentioned before, Monday Night Football. Dun-dun-dun-dun. That's the new jingle there. They are going in to Baltimore, Maryland to play the Ravens. Win or lose?
Yeah, so I want to say a win here. And part of the reason is that, last year the Colts came into Indy and they did beat us. The thing is, at the first half, we had held Lamar Jackson in that whole office to under 50 yards. And then a pick six happened. Phillip Rivers, what are you going to do? And the game kind of got out of hand. It only ended 24-10, which is not a big score by any means, but the game was a lot closer up until that third quarter. The curious thing will be for the Colts is, are they weary from this opening few weeks? And it's primetime games. Colts have wanted primetime games for a long time. That being said, I don't think we're going to be able to do it in Baltimore, especially at a 3-game road trip. We're going to be looking to get back home, and I do think the Ravens are still going to end up taking that W.
Okay. And so you're at 3-2 now?
Okay. Yes.
3-2. Now, big game, division rivals. It's a home game for you, but you're playing the Houston Texans.
Wow. It's so hard to know, right? Because is Deshaun Watson going to play? Is he not going to play? Last year the Colts were in control for a lot of the game. Deshaun Watson almost won on 2 game-winning drives right at the end, and the Colts defense stepped up and turned them over. That being said, their team is obviously going through a lot of upheaval right now, and so I think, the Colts are in a much more veteran position in terms of both talent on both sides of the ball. Uh, and I think, like I said, after a long road trip, this isn't like we're going to return to, the Kansas City Chiefs or another elite NFL team right now after a long road trip. This is a get back game, and so I think we got to take these to get the division. So yes, I think the Colts are going to be winning this
Okay.
one.
Okay. So that takes you to 4-2. Okay. And then you travel to San Francisco to play the Niners.
Sunday night football,
Monday
first
Night
Colts.
Football. Da-na-na.
So the Colts in San Francisco again. Curious, I'll be looking forward to when you do your most optimistic fan for the 49ers, because I'm curious, like, is Jimmy Garoppolo going to play? Is Trey Lance going to play? Um, I do think that the Colts are actually well matched defensively against the style of offense the San Francisco 49ers run.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
and I do think, 49ers are known for their off defensive line. That's why we got DeForest Buckner for it. We traded for him. He's been great so far. Um, our offensive line is what the Colts are known for. And so I think that will inhibit them. I think this is a game the Colts are able to win in prime time under the lights in San Francisco because of how well they match. I think what our strengths can take away their strengths, or at least match well against them.
Okay.
Um,
5-2. Okay, the Colts are looking good so far. Coming 7 games into the season, but they now face the Titans for the second time. This is really early to face two of
yeah,
its foes in the first half of the season. Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, it's really weird, especially for the Titans. You think they might space that out a bit more, knowing that we're kind of the more competitive two teams right now in the division. So I was curious when I saw that release, because the division could be decided pretty early on in terms of within the division games. But um, like I said, I think that it depends on how the Titans, reformulate and reevaluate their offense. And last year they were able to steal one back in Indianapolis. We split games. Part of the reason was because their whole defensive line was injured, and so Derrick Henry obviously ran for like 300 yards and
Yeah, I
three
remember
touchdowns. It
that
was a
game.
big game for Derrick Henry, as he's had the past couple of years. The Colts are healthy. We should be able to beat the Titans, and so I think we're going to be able to beat the Titans both games this year.
Okay, 6-2, and then you got your short week by the looks of it here, going into a Thursday night football against the new
Yeah.
quarterback, Zach Wilson and the New York Jets.
And I will say this game is big for one reason. This is the first primetime Colts home game that the Colts have had in almost 6 years.
Wow.
So, and I told you this before we were recording as well. Since 2012, we have had the least amount of home primetime games than the Jags and the Browns, excluding, the past couple of years, than the Jets, obviously. Think of every bad historical team the past decade. The Colts have had less primetime games than them, which makes no sense because the Colts have had a few bad years in there, but not nearly as much.
That is
Um,
crazy.
we need to get the Jets. This is another gimme game these next couple of weeks. Again, this is a bit of our breathing area after the first gauntlet of the season. So yeah, we got to get the Jets. Rookie QB, new offense. Again, we have the talent and veteran leadership that we can't be letting these rookies just run all over us. So
Okay, 7-2, and then you are at home again, and you have division rivals with the new quarterback Trevor Lawrence leading the Jaguars. Win or loss.
yeah, so people are hyping up Trevor Lawrence, and I've obviously watched him in college. They're very impressive. I've seen a lot of number one overall picks that the Jaguars have had in my time. I've seen, the Jaguars have a lot of picks. Oh, they've spent a lot of cap. The Colts, Titans, and Texans fans will also agree with me. We see this every year, all this Jaguars media offseason attention just for them to go 1-15, I guess 1-16. next year. I do think they have a bit more potential with Urban Meyer, but Tim Tebow at tight end isn't also going to help them beat beat the Colts here. And it's a home game. I think it's going to be exciting. It's going to be the most exciting a Jaguars Colts game has been in a while, to be honest with you.
Did
But
the Jaguars
yeah,
beat the Colts last year? Sorry.
yeah,
Sorry.
they did week 1, but that was Philip Rivers again.
Sorry.
Um, yeah, but look, we gotta get this one as well. Like I said, for the Jets one, these rookie QBs against the Colts defense was elite. It was top 5 last year. We gotta get these guys and punish them accordingly.
Okay, so 8-2, and now you go to Buffalo to play the Buffalo Bills. Win or lose.
Yeah, this is a tough one for me to decide. Just like the Ravens, um, the Colts played the Bills extremely tough last year. I think I mentioned it before. The Colts let that game get away from them, especially in the first half. We had lots of scoring chances, just couldn't do it. And I think like I said, a lot of the players are returning. I think there's a lot of opportunity for those players to be like, we got to get this one. So I think it's going to be a phenomenal game. I'll be curious to see, how Buffalo adjusts. I don't think they've got their running back yet that they wanted. Um, so I think it's a largely, a lot of returning players from both sides. I do think the Colts should be invigorated. If we can get this one on the road, it will be huge. It's an optimistic fan series, so I'm going to say we're going to be beating the Buffalo Bills.
Okay, you are on quite the winning streak here. You are at 9-2, and now you go back home and you host the defending Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, so this is where I'm not going to be optimistic. We just played the Buffalo Bills. We just, exhausting revenge game for the Colts, the Buccaneers. There's going to be a lot of hype around it. Bruce Arians is loved in Indianapolis, won Coach of the Year when Chuck Pagano was sick, obviously, and he hasn't been back in a long time. But Tom Brady, we know, unfortunately, has owned the Colts his entire career.
So it's a loss. Okay.
We're gonna say it's a loss.
Well, you've been on a big winning streak, so I don't, that's not bad.
Yeah, again, I'm being optimistic here. If Carson Wentz sucks and we find out by week 3 he's not our guy, the Colts are going to be in a tough spot too. But we're going to say Carson Wentz has figured it out. We're optimistic.
Yeah. Everyone's 0-0 right now. Potential to win. So you are now 9-3, headed into week 13 against division rival Houston Texans.
Yeah, so I love at Houston games for T.Y. Hilton. And, he might not have obviously been as flashy the past couple of years. We haven't had a lot of weapons to, give him room. But the Colts always shine at Houston. And it's one game every year you can count on. The Colts are going to come through here.
Okay, so
that's not optimistic. That is just fact. Sorry, Houston fans. That's true. The Colts are going to get this one.
Okay, so taking it to double digits, 10-3, going into the bye week 14. We won't. I always make the joke in several of these episodes of, well, I hope you win that week. But anyway,
it is our latest bye week ever, though. So 14 weeks though into the season, like that is gonna, like the schedule for us is tough.
Yeah,
so
this is definitely a brutal schedule. Yeah. Then you are on Sunday facing the New England Patriots in Indianapolis.
Yeah, so this is the first time the Colts are going to be Indianapolis since I believe the fake punt game.
Oh.
As a lot of people know about, and Pat McAfee's still recovering from.
Brutal play,
yeah. I'm curious to see the Patriots this year. They have overloaded their roster. And Bill Belichick's obviously trying to prove that he is just as good still without Tom Brady. And I am going to be really curious to see how their offense works with Cam Newton or Mac Jones. I feel like out of a bye week, the Colts will be ready to go. Part of me thinks the history of the Patriots might be one of those ones the Colts let slip. It might be the fear of Patriots still, and the Colts fans are still
I need a
trying to
firm
get over.
prediction, Jarrett.
I
Win or
think this is a
lose.
loss. I think this is a loss.
Okay. That takes you to 10-4 on the season, and then you are headed to a primetime Saturday night matchup with the Arizona.
Christmas Day.
Oh,
Christmas
it's a
Day.
Christmas. Yeah, December.
Yeah.
Oh, Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Are the Colts fans getting a win on Christmas against the Cardinals?
Okay, so similar to the 49ers, I think we match up really well against the Arizona Cardinals. A lot of the offseason additions the Cardinals have been, I think, obviously needed veteran leadership. But I don't think, AJ Green or JJ Watt, these guys, they're not going to, shift their team from an 8-8 record too much. It has to be the play of Kyler Murray, obviously. And I think also JJ Watt, DeAndre Hopkins, who knows them better than the Colts, Like, I think we know how to match up with them, maybe the best against any team, and know how to deal with them. So I do think we actually match really well. Our linebackers, including Darius Leonard and Bobby Okereke, are incredible sideline to sideline linebackers that slow down and limit running from QBs. So I think Kyler Murray could have a challenge. I would love a Christmas Day Colts win in Arizona. So,
That's
and
what
I
you're
think we
predicting.
match up well. So I'm going to say, yeah, we're going to
Okay.
do it.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. So we are at 11-4, final 2 weeks of the season. Big games to finish off this year. You are hosting the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yes. The Raiders, I don't think they've gotten much better this season either. And we smoked them last year in Vegas. And a lot of that was Jonathan Taylor. And I don't think their defensive line has changed much. They brought in Yannick Ngakoue, and he's a good pass rusher. I don't think he's going to change much. I can see those trenches open just as much as they did last year. And we got a Christmas Day win. Let's get our first New Year's win against the Raiders. I think we got them.
Okay. So we're at 12-4. Final game of the season. You have to go into hostile territory, Jacksonville, to face the Jaguars. Final game of the season.
Yeah. So I think there's a stat somewhere, but we actually haven't. Our record in Jacksonville is pretty abysmal, which is shocking to people. Obviously, like you alluded to earlier, we lost week 1 last year in Jacksonville, so it's going to be over. It's going to be like a year and a half since the Colts have actually been in Jacksonville. Again, we play weirdly bad in Florida. I could also see maybe they decide to rest players or something. I don't know what the roster is. This could be also one the Colts let slip, just to end the season. So I could see a loss here, honestly.
Okay. So, by my calculations, so you're predicting a loss. By my calculations, you're at 12-5 on the year, and I I personally think that that's pretty optimistic. But you know what?
It's all contingent on Carson Wentz play.
Absolutely. Well, let us know in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think that 12-5 is maybe a little too optimistic for the Colts next season? Do you think that Jarrett's right on the money, or maybe you think Jarrett is cutting the Colts short, and you think they're going to be 17-0 team? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Jarrett, thank you so much for coming on this show. This was a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.